Hey, welcome back. I'm Ferrixter, here to bring you some more Pokemon Go practice battles, actually. These are not played in GBL, these are practice battles for the upcoming Retro Cup. A cup in which we are not allowed to use any Steel, Fairy, or Dark, the three new types that are non-Gen 1, Gen 2. So, playing these against other legends, 3 battles each, I kind of developed 3 teams. I'm going to try to play test these and see how they work, see if I can shore up any weaknesses in them, and refine my teams before I move forward. But I figure this will probably still be valuable to watch, just because we can see what other people's thought processes are and what they're running. So, gonna hop into this first match against Panic23. Very popular Twitch streamer, a lot more popular than me. Everyone please show up to my Twitch. I need to be more popular. Munchlax into Lickitung. So these are basically the same Pokemon, just primarily doing Lick damage and Body Slam damage. This meta is going to be very heavy on Psychics because for anyone who used to play back in Gen 1, you'd know that Psychic is a really strong typing because nothing resists it except other Psychics. And that's the same, that's the case for this meta also. So all Confusions are going to be unresisted except by other Psychics. So Psychic is going to be a very strong type, and the same is true of Dragon. With Steel and Fairy gone, nothing is going to be resisting Dragon Breath. So Confusion, Dragon Breath, very strong moves. A good counter to those two things, Dragon and Psychic, is going to be Frostlass. So there's going to be a lot of Psychics, a lot of Frostlass, and a lot of Dragons in this meta. Just because Psychic and Dragon, totally unresisted, and Frostlass, an adequate counter to both of those things. And also some things that counter Frostlass, like normal types that will resist Ghost and Lick. So that's pretty much how this meta is built out. My opponent somehow outpaced me, even though we're both just going Lick Body Slam. I don't know, maybe my connection's not as fast as I hoped. But able to take me out, so I'm going to farm up some energy with Hypno, and Cresselia comes out. So Hypno and Cresselia, both very popular picks, very strong mono-psychic types. Since Cresselia came out and isn't an amazing Hypno counter, I'm kind of thinking about maybe, fighting for, about using some shields, and I thought my opponent was going to do the same thing. So I'm baiting here with Thunder Punch, which was a mistake because they no shield. And now they're up to another Moonblast, and I'm going to shield here, and thankfully at least is the Moonblast. They don't get a debuff. I'm going to throw this next Thunder Punch. I thought this might have been just barely enough, and it would have been my opponent's shields because they want to get out their next move. And I'm expecting this to be another Moonblast, so I'm going to shield this also. And it turns out to just be a Grass Knot, which is terrible. And even worse, there's a Frostlass back there, and I am left without really a Frostlass counter. So I actually really need the Shadow Ball to land. My opponent knows that and shields properly there. And now I can't even really switch out because they're at too much energy. Excuse me. I'm going to throw this Avalanche, which is helpful because at least they burn some of their energy there. And I'm going to send Whiscash out, who cannot tank 2 Avalanches. So I'm going to build up a little bit past my Mud Bomb, and here I tried to throw it, but it has actually just lost a CMP Chai. The Mud Bomb would not have been enough anyway. They would have been left with, not even a sliver of health. They would barely have been in Mud Shot down range. So I got completely destroyed there in that first game. GG to Panic. All right, game 2. Altaria into Lapras. I am getting horribly team comped here. Waited to confirm that it wasn't Water Gun before I swapped out to Mew, and there's a Dusclops back there, which is not actually that unusual of a pick for this cup. Dusclops has a lot of decent matchups against a lot of the meta. Going straight Surf here. Probably should have just gone with the Wild Charge because, they were going to end up hexing me down either way. I'm either shielding this Shadow Punch or I'm not. Throwing the Wild Charge would have made a lot more sense. Could have thrown it here also. No shielding the Surf, and they're actually already at another punch. So not willing to go down another shield here, so I'm just going to let it go. So not doing great here. I'm down a shield, and my opponent has switch advantage, which is extra bad because I don't even have an amazing counter to Lapras here in Frostlass. Gonna no-shield this first Surf. And it does that much. Build up, throw my next Shadow Ball, try to fast move deny, but my opponent is able to sneak in an Ice Shard. I land the Shadow Ball, which is nice, and I tried to switch out to my Altaria to catch this next Surf, but wasn't quite able to make it. Gonna shield there and throw this Avalanche. Hopefully, at least get a shield off of them because they still have 2 shields. And I don't even get that, and they switch into their own Frostlass. So they had Lapras in the front with a Frostlass in the back. I don't know what they're supposed to do against like a Shadow Charizard or something, but I mean, you know, I wasn't actually running that here because I'm trying to run teams that other people could potentially build. So here, I'm kind of hoping that my opponent is going to try to 2-shield flex on me, and they are, but it's not even enough because Lapras comes out and Ice Shards me down. So, yeah, GG to my opponent. I would have left that completely lost game, except if you do that, then, you know, we would have had to, like, resend, rescan, and that's a lot harder. All right, Frostless into Gallade. I finally managed to win a lead, and it's not quite even a 1 lead because this Gallade is running Charm. I forgot that Gallade even knew that move. So I'm going to switch into Munchlax and get some of these licks in. When you see a Charmer like Gallade, you kind of expect this to be something like Triple Charm, and it is. They switch into Chinchino. So in the back is probably going to be like a Raichu or something. That's another non-fairy that knows Charm. So in a Charm off, generally go for shielding everything. Not sure if shielding the Aqua Tail was going to turn out to be the best move. Gonna throw this Body Slam. Managed to take out the Chinchino. And Gallade comes back in. Gonna throw this Body Slam. They sneak in a Charm, which is terrible for me. Probably should have swapped out there to try to transfer it, but I'm just gonna let it go down. And now I'm gonna bring in Pelipper to try to wing attack down before they get to another Leaf Blade, but nope, they actually managed to get there anyway. So I have to eat this neutral Leaf Blade. It does quite a lot of damage, especially when I know there's going to be another Charm back there, and it's a Wobbuffet. Charm Wobbuffet. All right, so I switch out right away to Frostlass, because if I can land this Shadow Ball, I would do devastating damage. I mean, it's super effective. Stab. Hits really hard from Frostlass, and that's all it does because Wobbuffet is just so thick. Try to build up to another Shadow Ball, which is fine. If they throw the Mirror Coat, that's okay. That means they're energy drained, and I can safely build up to and throw this Hurricane and take out the Wobbuffet. If I had thrown the Avalanche, which I could have, it wouldn't have done enough damage, and they would have been able to, you know, would have been able to charm me the whole way down and have a return ready for for Pelipper. So that's how I opted to play that out. Safer way. GG to my opponent. All right. So next up against J Mills, another very popular Twitch streamer, content creator. Going to throw the lunge and no shield that, and now I switch out to Whiscash, and my opponent is staying in, which is kind of strange. I guess they don't have an answer to Whiscash back there. I actually get a shield off of this Galvantula, which is fantastic. Gonna no-shield this lunge because, I mean, it hurts, but it doesn't hurt that much. And there's a Zangoose back there, so that's different. But apparently not as surprising as I thought, because this is like the second one that, or this is one of 2 that I'm gonna see in these practice battles. Gonna no-shield here because Zangoose kind of outpaces anyway, and I actually managed to survive that Night Slash. And so I'm able to throw this Mud Bomb, which is fantastic. Does a ton of damage. I should send out Hypno here because 1 confusion would be enough, but instead I thought I was going to be able to lick down faster, but I don't know. I don't know what I was even thinking there. That was just bad. That was just a bad idea. But able to lick down and get all of this energy. So now I'm going to throw this Body Slam against Cast Form. Cast Form is pretty thick. I am going to throw the second Body Slam. It's going to be not quite enough either. And I'm just going to build up to the next one, force them to at least throw energy. Not going to shield here. I'm going to save my shield for for Hypno. At this range, I can Confusion the whole way down. I don't have to worry about them getting to a Solar Beam. Most that they'll hit me with is another Weather Ball, which does, you know, chip damage. Not a lot. Hypno can easily survive that. Galvantula comes back out. I CMP tie with him here, well, hoping that he's going to throw the lunge here, just so that because my lose condition at this point is for him to sneak in an extra Volt Switch because he will win CMP otherwise. I'm going to throw this Thunder Punch. My opponent opts to no shield, and I'm able to just confuse him the rest of the way down. But I mean, if he had shielded, I would have just thrown the next Thunder Punch because wasn't able to sneak in that Volt Switch. But yeah, I managed to take that game. GG. All right. So here we go into game 2. Altaria into Frostlass. So this is obviously a really, really terrible lead for me. I'm going to switch out to Mew right away, or after a little bit of a delay because I was thinking. I'm not going to throw my Surf right away, although honestly, it might have been a good idea. I'm going to shield this Avalanche because it does devastating damage, and there's a Swampert back there. So this isn't a great receptacle for my energy either. Thankfully, I'm not in Hydro Cannon downrange just yet. So, gonna no-shield this first Hydro. I have some delicious, delicious lag, and now I'm gonna throw this other Surf. Should be able to Shadow Claw the rest of the way down, but he gets the Hydro Cannon before me, and I mean, at this point, this is not looking great for me because my opponent wins Switch and has a shield advantage, and I don't even have a great answer for Frostlass left. That's definitely a weakness of this team build also. Pretty weak to Frostlass because it's the best Frostlass counter I really have are Mew and Frostlass, which aren't even counters. So now my opponent has a shield advantage. I try to switch out to Frostlass to catch an Avalanche, but no such luck. So I'm just going to no-shield. The Shadow Ball takes me out right away, and I should probably have thrown this Sky Attack earlier. You know, if my opponent opts to no-shield, I'll still have some health and a shield left. And it's a Munchlax back there, so this is pretty much over. I can throw my 2 Sky Attacks, but I mean, he has 2 shields. At this point, I'm just going to let myself get licked down and no-shield everything to make it go faster because I can't leave this lost game because if I did, we would have to rescan. And, you know, that's more trouble than it's worth. So he BMs me and bulldozes me. Thank you, J Mills. Feels fantastic. All right. Frostlass into Frostlass. My opponent switches to Munchlax to try to catch the Shadow Ball. I throw the Avalanche. And, I mean, if I'm going to throw the Avalanche, I should really throw the second one to at least force a shield out. So I do that. And now I should really probably switch out to Whiscash. But I wanted to do a little bit more Powder Snow damage just so that he'd be in Mud Bomb plus Mud Shot downrange. But really, like, the licks don't do that much to Whiscash, and it does a lot to Frostlass. So I probably didn't play this out as well as I should have. Probably should have actually switched out earlier, saved some energy on Frostlass. I think that would have been a better play. That's all right. I'm going to throw this Mud Bomb. And was going to farm down, but he actually actively swaps into Celio, which is crazy. So more ice in the front and ice in the back. Double ice seems to be on a lot of people's minds. I'm not sure if when they refine their teams down, they'll still be running Frostlass or like, I'm not sure if they'll still be running ABA ice teams. But I mean, I guess it remains to be seen. So he's going to body slam me and take me out. I'm going to send Frostlass back out because, you know, I'm anticipating more body slams and they really don't do anything to Frostlass. And it's actually an Aurora Beam Celio, which is nuts. I built up to the Shadow Ball and am baiting with Avalanche, but really, I thought this was going to do enough. Not quite even enough damage. I switch into Hypno to try to get a Confusion in and take out the Celio, but I'm going to end up having to eat this Body Slam anyway, which is not great. And now Frostlass comes back out, and this Frostlass already has energy. But I do still have 2 shields. So, going to shield this Avalanche. At this health range, I can really just throw straight Thunder Punches. So, going to throw this Thunder Punch, get the last shield. It was a CMP tie, which is great, because that means they don't manage to sneak in an extra Powder Snow, because that's really my lose condition at this point. And 2 more Confusions. I get to the Thunder Punch just before my opponent gets to their Shadow Ball. Avalanche would be almost enough to take me out, but not quite. And yeah, I managed to take out this Frostlass. And now I am just going to Confusion down Celio and Confusion down Munchlax. And yeah, managed to take that game. GG to my opponent. All right. So, next opponent, ASYourFoe. Very talented battler, a legend, and topped out at 119 on the leaderboard earlier this season. So, congratulations to ASYourFoe. He actually made it onto the leaderboard running Shadow Bayonet in Great League, which is insanity. And not too surprisingly, he goes with Shadow Bayonet in all three of these matchups. So, we'll see how that plays out. Alright, so Munchlax into Abomasnow. Abomasnow actually or regular non-Shadow Abomasnow can't go straight Weather Ball. Needs to land an Energy Ball and a Weather Ball to take this out. Otherwise, they end up having to throw a third Weather Ball. So, gonna throw this Body Slam, and I mean, at this point, I could have shielded and licked the rest of the way down, but I would be pretty low and probably wouldn't be able to reach a Body Slam, so I'm just gonna let it go. Send out Hypno and try to get some farm, which turned out to just be one confusion. Shadow Bayonet comes out. I swap right away to Whiscash because, I mean, look at how much that freaking Shadow Claw did. So Shadow Bayonet, for those of you who don't know, is kind of just a nuker. It knows Thunder, Shadow Ball, and I think you can learn Focus Blast or something. So it's all nukes all the time. If shields are down and Shadow Bayonet comes out, you're going to die. But thankfully, we're still in the 2. So I was able to land that Mud Bomb, which did devastating damage because Shadow Bayonet is so glassy. And then when my opponent swaps into his shiny Swampert, sneaks in a Mud Shot. That's not great. Going to throw this Mud Bomb. Swampert kind of outpaces anyway. And now I switch into Hypno. And, I mean, if I knew he was going to throw a move, I wasn't trying to catch it. If I knew he was going to throw a move, I would have just let it go through. Because this Swampert is in Confusion downrange, and Shadow Bayonet is also in Confusion downrange. Let's go with this Hydro Cannon. I'm going to throw this Thunder Punch. I'm not quite at back-to-back yet. I usually don't like throwing back-to-back, but my opponent actually thought that I was throwing back-to-back, swapped into Bayonet to try to catch it, but ended up eating a Confusion, and now I'm at my next Thunder Punch. So I'm just barely able to take that game. GG to my opponent. That was really close. And Shadow Bayonet is really stressful to play against. All right, next up. Altaria into Swampert. I win this lead tremendously. So Altaria will survive anything that the Swampert throws as their first move. When they stay in like this, sometimes I like to shield, but just because, you know, clearly they don't have a great Altaria response, or 2 great Altaria responses in the back, so Altaria will probably have some play. But he actually baited with Hydro Cannon, and unfortunately for him, I no-shielded. And now Shadow Bayonet came back out, and Shadow Bayonet is pretty glassy, so if I just shield once... lagging so terribly. I think I was doing these battles in a coffee shop. It was terrible. So Dragon Breath the rest of the way down, and so now I have a Sky Attack loaded. I'm going to throw the Sky Attack against Abomasnow, which comes back out, or which comes out. Pick up another shield, and I wouldn't quite be able to reach my next Sky Attack, so I'm going to swap out to Frostlass instead. Going to no shield and eat another Weather Ball. Honestly, I thought that was going to be an Energy Ball, but it wouldn't actually even take Frostlass out. And learning experience for me, the Avalanche only does that much. I honestly thought the Avalanche was going to do more, but in retrospect, I should have thrown the Shadow Ball that would have taken him out, and also probably should have shielded that. Because now I get Mud Shotted the rest of the way down. I'm going to send Altaria back out and not throw the Sky Attack right away. Instead, I'm actually just going to, even though I have like no energy left, I'm going to shield this Hydro Cannon, Dragon Breath the rest of the way down, and throw the Sky Attack on Abomasnow as soon as it comes back out. So, managed to take that game, GG. Yeah, I definitely team comped my opponent in that one. That was rough. All right, game 3. Let's go. Frostlass into Swampert. Frostlass into Swampert is an interesting matchup. It's kind of, the impetus is really on Swampert, on the Swampert player as to how they want to play. I'm going to no-shield the first Hydro Cannon. It does that much damage, and now I'm just going to try to, you know, have adequate fast move denial, throw these avalanches, lets it go, and swaps into Shadow Bayonet, and I was way too slow to the swap. Oh my god, I ate 3 Shadow Claws, and it nearly killed Frostlass. My Frostlass is only useful at this point as a shield, whereas if I'd swapped out earlier, you know, would have been helpful. And I swapped into Pelipper, which is wrong. I literally have a Munchlax back there, which is a fantastic Shadow Bayonet counter. But it just, you know, the panic of the Shadow Claws doing ridiculous amounts of damage. Gonna throw this next weather ball, and here I probably am making a mistake. I should have just let this go and come in with Munchlax and farmed down. Although Shadow Bayonet's so glassy, I might have only gotten like 3 licks in. Swampert comes back out. I tried to actually throw my weather ball because I knew he was almost out of move, but you know, Swampert wins CMP and manages to take Pelipper out. Now I'm gonna send my Munchlax out, and he swaps out to avoid getting farmed down into Abomasnow. So this is pretty bad. Munchlax loses the 0 if Abomasnow goes Energy Ball and Weather Ball. So no shielding here because I'm out of shields, and that's unfortunate. The Energy Ball lands, and now he just needs to land the Weather Ball. So I'm not going to throw my Body Slam as soon as I have it because it's going to push him to throw his energy the instant he does, and that enables me to catch this Weather Ball on my Frostlass, which is able to pull this game back for me. Gonna throw this Body Slam. It does not quite enough. It licked the rest of the way down. Super close to having another Weather Ball, and licked down the Swampert. It just barely able to take that game. My God, those were really good games. I appreciated those. All right, next opponent is HollowPurple. Shout out to HollowPurple. He is the hardest working moderator on my Twitch stream. Thank you, HollowPurp, for making my stream more watchable because I am terrible at self-moderating and typing the commands that I'm supposed to, so thank you for being there to back me up. All right, opens Pachirisu, which I don't even have a Dex one of these. I don't know when he opted to go to Canada to pick that up or if he just lives far north enough. But I did not know the moveset offhand for this because I wasn't expecting it. Although, if you're looking at like PV Post rankings for it, Pachirisu's actually up there. So, a lot of people who have it are likely to use it if they've, built it up. Moveset is generally Volt Switch with Thunder Punch and Thunderbolt. So if I can get that sort of thing aligned with like Whiscash, that would be fantastic for me. But no such luck in this game. So my opponent sends out Cresselia, and I shield here, which is kind of weird, and now there's a Frostlass in the back. I built up to the Bulldoze and then am baiting with Body Slam because I figured he's got 2 shields. Why wouldn't you use one here, Hollow? But no shielded. I switch out to Whiscash for whatever reason. 2 avalanches are going to take Whiscash out. I managed to get out this Mud Bomb, but HollowPurp manages to sneak in an extra Powder Snow, so he is getting further and further ahead. I get a shield finally. And he CMP ties with me. Fantastic counting, and, throws this next avalanche to take me out. So this Frostlass has a ton of energy and, a shield left. I bring Munchlax back out, throw the Body Slam, and he shields. And my switch timer's not up, so I can't even switch out. I almost get to the Body Slam, which would have been, probably not enough to pull this game back from the gutter, but it would have been nice. End up eating this Shadow Ball on Hypno, which does devastating damage, and he's easily able to reach another Avalanche before I'm able to Confusion down. So I got completely destroyed in that game. But, that's fine. This is why we do practice battles, to locate the weaknesses in our team comps, and also to see what other people, what's going on in other people's minds, what they're going to be running when Retro Cup drops on Monday. All right. Lapras in the lead. That is terrible for my Altaria. I switch into Frostlass and actually managed to land the Shadow Ball, and my opponent is staying in. So I'm going to let this first Surf go through, which does like 50% because it's a Shadow Lapras. It does quite a lot. But it's honestly better for Frostlass that it's a Shadow because it'll take a little bit more damage. And, now it's getting closer to being in Avalanche range. Honestly, if he opted to no-shield this, I don't think it would even take him out. So thankfully I get the shield here, and it was a CMP tie, so I think I'm going to let this go because I can't go down shields again. It's not great for me because there always seems to end up being a Frostlass back there, and that's just bad for me when you're out of shields. But he gets to the Surf. I'm going to shield here because I at least have energy now, so I'll have some play against whatever it is that comes out. And it's a Metachamp back there, so that's fantastic. This isn't like an amazing receptacle for Mew's energy, but it also can't hit Mew that hard. So I built up, and I throw this Wild Charge right before he's able to reach the Ice Punch, and now he's at the Ice Punch because he's not going to counter, so I switched to Altaria, thinking that I was going to catch an Ice Punch, which would do, a lot, but I feel like it's probably more important to have Mew, because he brought Medicham, which probably meant whatever was in the back would have been pretty bad against Mew. And it's a Shadow Dragonite, which is honestly not that bad against Mew either, but Mew with energy, yeah, would do a lot. Thankfully, Altaria is actually able to Dragon Breath Dragonite the whole way down. He could have thrown the Dragon Claw, but wanted to try to farm me down so he could end with energy. That was his only win condition, but my Altaria has pretty good IV, so I was able to take that game. GG. All right. Frostlass into Dugong. This honestly isn't amazing for Frostlass. It's kind of a bait-dependent matchup. I'm going to throw this Shadow Ball. It is 4 Ice Shards to the Icy Wind and 5 to the Water Pulse. First move is almost always Icy Wind, so I'm going to no-shield that, especially because he shielded first, which seems to indicate that, he's looking to debuff me on the next one. So I throw this next Shadow Ball, pretty much as soon as I have it, because I don't want him to be able to throw another Icy Wind. And this is the part where people will usually either bait Icy Wind, and if you shield it, it feels terrible, or throw Water Pulse, and if it lands, you die. So through the Water Pulse, I was just barely not able to make it to the to the Shadow Ball. If I had shielded, could have won this lead, but again, it's bait dependent, and if you shield, the Icy Wind feels really, really bad. So I have to just let it go and take the shield advantage, because at least now I can bring in Munchlax, farm up some energy. I am forced to throw the Body Slam here because he's almost at another Icy Wind. And there's Pelipper back there, so that's fantastic. I switch into my own Pelipper, and the Pachirisu is back there. Oh my gosh, Pelipper double weak to Electric. And my wing attacks are doing like nothing. The Weather Ball doesn't hit that hard because Pachirisu, despite being at only 1284 CP, is pretty tanky. Honestly, surprisingly tanky, considering it looks so delicate and its CP is so low. But I get Volt Switch the whole way down, which is devastatingly bad. I'm going to no-shield this first move, hoping it's a Thunder Punch, and it is. And now I'm going to shield up here, and it's the Thunderbolt, so good shield. I don't know, probably not enough to pull this game back. He sneaks in a Volt Switch, which is also really, really not fantastic. Going to throw this Body Slam. He shields, and then switches out to Pelipper, who already had a few wing attacks of energy in. I'm building up some extra, but I mean, at this point, double Body Slam might be enough, but I'm definitely not going to reach double Body Slam. Pelipper outpaces Munchlax tremendously. So spammy, and Weather Ball is such a strong move. GG to HollowPurple. I don't hold these devastating losses against you because, you moderate for me, so thank you, man. All right, next up against 35 the Game Junior, a member of my local, in real life, local, raiding community. Also a legend, has been on the leaderboard before, no slouch at all. So, yeah, after this Dugong, I switch into Munchlax. Or, sorry, no, opening Munchlax. After I get debuffed, I switch out and switch into Hypno. Gonna throw this Thunder Punch and probably take this Dugong out. Would be unusual for them to shield, but he does. I guess he's actually waiting for his switch timer to be out because it took so long for me to switch out after he switched Dugong in. Switch timer is able to run out, and now mine isn't. So these switch timers are horribly desynced. So I am actually forced to throw Thunder Punches, debuffed Thunder Punches into this Munchlax, which is pretty terrible. It's a terrible, terrible use of Hypno's energy. Lands the Body Slam. I at least will throw this next Thunder Punch for chip damage because my switch timer wasn't out yet, so what choice did I have? And I get licked the rest of the way down. So that's rough. Probably should have sent out Whiscash in this situation, because Whiscash actually has some farm down potential versus Munchlax, whereas Munchlax has no farm down potential versus Munchlax. Forced to shield this Body Slam because I need my Munchlax to have some health, and I tried to switch out, thinking that maybe I was going to catch a move or something, and he switches out to his Hypno at exactly the same time. So similar thought processes, or he's reading my mind. Either or. So, gonna throw this Blizzard. If it lands, I can win this game. If he shields it, then it's pretty much over for me. If I had baited the Mud Bomb, would have been fine. Would have been able to reach the Blizzard and take Hypno out. But yeah, the way this is going, not going to happen. I'm going to build up to the Blizzard to at least so I don't get confusion down after throwing a Mud Bomb, because that would be even worse. But I mean, this is like looking pretty unsalvageable here as it is. I'm going to throw this Body Slam and try to lick the rest of the way down. If I can farm that down with licks, might be okay, but he switches into Munchlax. His Munchlax already has a bunch of energy, so I am forced to throw this Body Slam. And, I mean, this is over because he still has a Dugong in the back with some energy, and he just needs to reach an Icy Wind, throws one Ice Shard and reaches the Icy Wind, and is able to take my Munchlax out. GG to my opponent. Yeah, that team doesn't have an amazing answer for a Dugong swap-in. I guess I actually, in the future, should probably switch to Hypno a lot sooner. Alright, Altaria into Dragonair. This is great for Altaria. Altaria can Dragon Breath the entire way down, and I reach a Sky Attack before they reach the Aqua Tail. So, gonna throw this Sky Attack right away. Get a shield, and now it's kind of up to the Altaria player how they want to play this out. I could have no-shielded this and come in and farm down and had 2 shields, and honestly, that probably would have been better because Frostlass would have done a great job farming down. So I'm not sure I'm playing this as well as I could. But gonna stay in and see what they have, and it is a Talonflame. So I let him throw 2 Incinerates, and now I'm throwing the Sky Attack, which is honestly super dumb. I should really just throw the Dragon Pulse. It would do a bunch more damage, and I'm very obviously only going to reach 1 move. So wasted opportunity for me. I could have done a lot more damage by throwing the Dragon Pulse. All right, so correctly shield the Brave Bird, which is fantastic. He switches out to Whiscash. I'm a little bit slow to the swap, which is honestly pretty bad. Whiscash outpaces Frostlass, but it takes 3 Mud Bombs to take Frostlass out and only 2 Avalanches to take out Whiscash. But really, I only really need to land 1 Avalanche in order to do devastating damage and put him into farm down range from Mew. But because he got in like 3 Mud Bombs, that was just way too slow to the swap. I reached my Avalanche just short of making it in. Like Frostlass would win CMP, I was 1 Powder Snow away. But yeah, Whiscash able to take me out, and now Mew comes in. I sneak in a Shadow Claw, which is nice. At this health, Whiscash is so tanky. It's going to take 2 Surfs to take Whiscash out. I built up to double Surf, and he switches into Talonflame to try to catch. He almost did. I built up a little bit more energy before I throw my Surf, but honestly, it would have been safer if I had just thrown it because I'm not in Mud Bomb range yet. But I'm awfully close, and that Incinerate brought me way closer. Like, I am dangerously close to Mud Bomb range right here. But able to get the Surf out right before he reaches his Mud Bomb. Just barely able to take that game. GG. It's my opponent. Close. All right, game 3. Frostlass into Medicham. I actually win this lead for once, which is pretty rare for me. Switches into Jellicent. And it is a Hex Jellicent. I could have stayed in a little bit longer and farmed up a little more aggressively. And I mean, in the future, I might do that because Munchlax, if you have Munchlax in the back, is such a wall to Jellicent's energy. I mean, if it has Ice Beam, it can harm you. But if it's the Bubble Beam and if it's the Bubble Beam Shadow Ball variety, they really have no play. Either way, I am heavily team comping my opponent right now. So gonna no-shield this second Ice Beam and lick down 1, 2 Hexes. So yeah, I probably could have thrown like 3 extra Powder Snows with Frostlass before switching out. Now I know. And because my opponent waited before sending in Medicham, I'm able to actually save my Body Slam and swap into Pelipper. So I am going to throw these Weather Balls as soon as I have them. Because Zangoose wins CMP and reaches Night Slashes at pretty much the same speed. He gets the attack boost on the first one, which is terrible for me. Oh my gosh. I'm forced to shield this second Night Slash because it would 100% KO. And I throw this Weather Ball as soon as I have it. So the way this is obviously going to play out, I'm going to build up to my next Weather Ball. Zangoose is going to win CMP and take me out. But the Zangoose will at least be energy dry. Reach this Weather Ball, try to throw it. And get taken out by the Night Slash. But my Munchlax does have a Body Slam stored. So I'm just going to send that out. Body Slam right away. take out the Zangoose. And now I just need to switch into Frostlass, able to reach the Shadow Ball, no problem. I'm able to take this game. GG to my opponent. And yeah, I think that's actually the last practice game I have. I did more against other content creators and more people, but like this video is already long. And yeah, so I guess I'm gonna refine my teams, use some of my leftover footage tomorrow, probably release another video so we can see how the practice Retro Cup meta is kind of evolving over time as people kind of, you know, bounce some games off of each other, see what they're using, and refine their teams a little bit. But yeah, thank you all for watching. And yeah, don't forget to do the things at the ends of videos that you know you're supposed to do. You know you're supposed to do them. Please do the things. Hit all the buttons. Helps me out tremendously. And I will catch you guys on the next one.